But yeah, there you go. From Hey guys, it's the archetypal Shudder-Bug, and I am back, and look what I managed to get my hands on. I am so happy because this guy is so hard to get locally here in San Antonio. It is Todd McFarlane's Batman. That's right. This DC Multiverse figure is actually a Batman designed by Todd McFarlane. He did a quick sketch of him and turned him into a figure. So this is literally what Batman would be if Todd McFarlane had created it. And it is as over the top as you would believe. It's it's so pointy. It's pointy all over the place. My words can only say so much. Let's go ahead and crack this guy open. But of course, in my overzealous nature, I completely forgot that I need to show you guys the packaging first. So let's go ahead and do that first. That'd be a lot smarter. Let's go ahead and have a look. Let's start with the front here. Obviously, it's the same thing we get with just about every single multiverse figure. It's the DC Multiverse with the Batman right there written. Here's Batman, looking sharp. That's all I can really say about this figure, is looking sharp. On the right side, or I guess the left side if you're looking at it a certain way, is basic, you know, DC Multiverse, Batman. And of course, the McFarlane Toys logo there. That familiar Spawn logo, like I said in the last video. There we go. And on this side, I think the most interesting side is, look at that. Todd McFarlane designed Batman, designed by Todd McFarlane. Depending on what kind of person you are, this is either a really good thing or a really bad thing. I'm a fan. I am a fan, even though I think it's absolutely ridiculous. On the back of the packaging, we have the sketch he did of the Batman. Again, very pointy, as many of Todd's creations are. Also covered in pouches and belts. As for the rest of the figures, there they are right there in the line. I'm not sure how many of these I'll actually grab. I know for sure I'm probably not going to grab the Arkham figures because I'm not really a huge fan of those designs. Well, I mean, I love the Deathstroke, but I'm not a huge fan of an overly armored Batman. But if I do get more of these, I will certainly post them up here and do my little reviews on them. Alright, without further ado, let's get this guy cracked open so I can finally show you guys what's inside. And here we have Todd McFarlane's Batman looking pretty sharp. His costume ain't that bad either. Lame joke, I know. Yeah, look at that. I also have this Lazy Susan now. I got this at IKEA when I went on a run with a couple of friends. Pretty nifty, huh? Anyway, here we get a 360 view of bats. I can tell you already there's a lot I want to talk about with this figure. But let's start off with the accessories. He doesn't have that very many, but the ones he does have are pretty cool. And they do tell a lot of what Todd was going for with this particular figure. Let's get into it. Alrighty, let's start with the two most basic of the accessories that he has. He comes with a basic stand. I think it's just about the same size as the stands that came with the Spawn figures that he did for his Kickstarter. Basic DC logo on there. Very basic stand. Doesn't really do much for me, honestly. I kind of wish it had like a bat logo or something stamped on it, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. The thing I do like that it comes with, just like with the Red Sun Superman, is this card here. This collector card. Here is the sketch that was basically showing what he wanted to do with the character. It's very Todd. You know, when it comes to Todd, you think sharp, you think dark and edgy and all this other stuff, and Todd is very fond of the shadows. Todd is very fond of the color black. One of the things I hated that he did, or he was responsible for in the Spawn animated series for HBO, was in season 2 and 3, he made them make Spawn completely black most of the time he was on screen, except for maybe the occasional red silhouette. He has this thick obsession with black. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's a good drawing. It is. I like the atmosphere of it. And of course in the back there's a little read up here on what Todd wanted to do with the character. If you want to read it, you can go ahead and pause it right here. But it's a good rundown of his words and the character and all that, having worked on it. Actually, no, worked on the character for a while back in the day. Basic stuff. Basic stuff. In terms of accessories he can actually hold, he comes with 2 knives, which, why Batman would need knives. Or I guess these are technically swords. But again, why Batman would need swords, I have no damn clue. They're still pretty cool. And, of course, 1 Batarang. And I actually like the shape of this Batarang. You may remember in the Spawn 3-pack, if you watched that video, that I mentioned that the Necroplasm knife that the Spawns came with might have been from the same mold as the knives that came with this particular Batman. And while you might be asking, okay, so where the hell are they? They are actually in the gold edition of it. There's a gold edition of this Batman that's a different color scheme and has some different accessories. He actually comes with this really rad pair of night vision goggles that I was really hoping to find, but unfortunately, like I said, very hard to come by here locally now, so I was lucky to get this one. I'll go ahead and show you what that Necroplasm knife looks like later on. For now, let's get into these knives right here. And to be honest, I kind of prefer these to the black, or not the black, the gold edition, I apologize, of the figure, because they have more detail to them. If you look at them, the blade is actually kind of in the shape of a bat. I don't know if you can see that there. The wing, the head, the tail at the bottom. Really like that. The hilts, for some reason, have these spikes on them. Why Batman needs so many damn spikes, I don't know, but it's Todd. They look cool. I like them. I like the sculpting detail there in the handles, where it looks like they're wrapped, just to make it a little more detailed. I also like the paint job right there on the blade. That added silver just makes it pop. Looks really good. Really happy with that. The second one is the exact same thing. Let's get to the Batarang. I really like the shape of this one. It's nothing to write home about. I like the gold. But yeah, pretty basic Batarang. I really like the shape of it. That's all I can really say about it. Really cool. Before I get into breaking down the figure, let me go ahead and show you what I meant by Necroplasm Sword being a recast from this particular figure. If you look at his belt right there, he's got a couple throwing knives. Let me see if I can focus them there for you. There we go. And they are in the exact same shape as the Necro Sword. So with the gold edition of it, the blades he comes with are supposed to pair really nicely with the figure itself. So here is that blade. If you look at the holsters he has in the back here, it does slide in pretty well. It works. And of course it also slides into his hand pretty much like a glove. So you can see it works, and it does go with this figure. These blades were made for this figure, but the ones we got with the figure originally, with this version anyway, the base version, I do prefer. They do pop a lot more, and they're longer, so they fit in the sheaths a lot better too. But let's go ahead and get into the figure itself, and let me stop chewing your ear on this particular little tidbit of information. Alrighty, let's get to the figure itself. The first word I used when I originally spoke about this figure was sharp. And it is very sharp, and it is very pointy. But another word I can definitely use to describe this figure is tactical. There is a lot of stuff on here that is very tactical. He's got pouches, he has some armor plating here on his legs. The boots are also very armored. A lot of padding on this Batman. As for paint job, when compared to the gold version, I'm going back to this again, the gold version has a different color pouches. They're a darker brown. I believe the gray is a little bit darker, and instead of being a blue hue in the cowl, gloves, and boots, and a couple of the pouches, he's black instead. I gotta say I prefer this one a lot better. I think the blue pops a lot more, and I like the color of the pouches. It makes them look a little more tactical, you know, a little more realistic. I'm a huge fan of the belt buckle. The way Todd described the figure was the logo on his chest wasn't really a logo. It was supposed to blend in and be a piece of the cape and cowl, you know, like one complete unit. He said the logo that he wants you to be drawn to is the buckle, because it's the classic oval. I really like that. I think that's really cool. Like I mentioned before, he has these really nice gold throwing knives. Apologize for my dog in the background. He's got some blue pouches and brown pouches. Whole lot of pouches. He's got a couple more accessories there. I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to be. I think it's just a couple, like a canister for, I'm guessing, evidence and stuff. But, you know, I don't think World's Greatest Detective when I think this Batman. I think more of a savage, brutal Batman. I don't know if you could see that, but he's got some mini batarangs there sheathed as well, which I really like. I think that's a fun little detail. He's just loaded to the gills with stuff. Looks like he has a yellow canister, I'm guessing for collecting evidence, like I said earlier. But maybe not with this Batman. And a couple grenades. Whether those be fragmentation grenades or smoke grenades, I don't know. But I'm willing to bet they're probably not smoke grenades. Not with Todd. No, sir. I also love the curls here on the shoulders. Really nice, really sharp. The suit itself is your basic, you know, gray Kevlar looking suit, but the gauntlets are what really caught my eye the first time. Look at that. Again, why Batman needs so many spikes, I do not understand, but I'm not complaining. Originally, I thought, okay, I guess the spikes are there to, you know, take the place of the spikes that he has in the forearms, you know, the blades he usually has. But no, they're still there, as you can see. So he just has more. And they're not really blades, they're just spikes. The only thing I'm not a huge fan of with these gauntlets is that with all the extra detail that's sculpted in, it's very muddy because it's not painted or like accented in any way. And I feel like if he was going to go through all the trouble of designing this Batman to be very busy, he should have added a little more paint or something just to show off the details that are in there. Because there are a lot of details in this gauntlet that you can't really see upon first glance. I think that's a shame, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. So yeah, look at that. This is a Batman I could imagine being a little more lenient with his no kill rule for sure. I'm not a fan of that particular idea in a Batman. I very much prefer a Batman that doesn't do that. But you know, it's not my design for Batman. I do notice now, looking at the suit, it looks more like a flight suit, like something you'd see a pilot, like a fighter pilot wear. So I do like that, with that padding there in the inner thigh. As you can see, again, like I mentioned, the boots are very armored. I like the detail in there. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a rough texture to the center of the shin there I do like. Apart from that detail, another thing I do like is that these boots are very square at the front. But just like the gauntlets, it looks like there's a lot of extra detail in these boots that it really could have popped a lot more had he added some more color and maybe some highlights here. Like, I know for sure it would have been really cool if he had used that gold that he had in the throwing knives here and the batarang in the toes there. Definitely would have made that pop a lot more and made it look like an actual steel toe boot. But, oh well. And one of my favorite parts of this figure in its entirety is the cape. If you look at it, it's like a folded pair of bat wings. It's one of those moments where I wish I could actually unfold it. I wish it was like the cape on the Spawn figures, because it looks like it's made to be that. But unfortunately, it's just a piece of plastic. Molded very well. I'm a huge fan of the way it ends at a point there at the bottom. And again, looks like a pair of folded wings, so I can't complain. And if you notice here in the back, he's got a couple sheaths for those blades he comes with. Talk about overkill. But they're sculpted well. They look good. And to end it all off and bring it on home, check out the cowl. I actually do like the shape of this cowl, because if you look at it in different directions, the ears actually always curve forward. So no matter what way you're looking at it, it's always shifting. You know, it gives the cowl itself more of a fluid look. Like the ears are moving with the action and all that, you know. In terms of the face, it's sculpted well. The brow was a little more flat than I'd like, honestly. I like my Batman with more of a scowl than just a line for a brow. The eyes are painted very clean. I like that, no spillage. And the lips and mouthpiece are also done very well. Look at that. Huge fan. Sorry, my dog is making a lot of noise, but that's my baby boy for you. Maybe I'll post a picture of him later so you can see what he looks like and admire him just like I do. In terms of articulation, he has about the same amount of articulation as every DC Multiverse figure, and just like the Red Sun Superman of the last review, he has arms on a ball joint that click. As you can see, these are a lot looser because I actually took the time to loosen them before I shot this. Way to go. Way to think forward, James. He's got the swivel in the bicep. A lot more useful in this one, I think, just because of the way the gauntlets are sculpted. So very welcome there. Of course, he has it on the other side. The elbows also go in and out, just like the Superman there. They're not on a double joint or anything. They just go about that far. I did notice in terms of sculpt that this elbow is pre-posed to go about there, while this one, it goes about there. It goes a lot farther than the other one. So there's some of that McFarlane pre-posing you see there. The torso is cut in half and is on a ball joint, just like the other figures. He's got a good range of motion on that. Same with the waist. He also has a good range of motion on that, though this one's a little bit stiffer, and that's only because of the sculpting on the belt. The crotch, as well as the butt, it's a well sculpted butt, is a soft rubber piece to allow for the legs to move forward about that far. Of course, he's hindered a little bit by the belt. They go in and out. Same with this one. This one's hindered a lot less with the armor plating on the thigh and the boot. I mean, not the boot, the thigh. The knees are on a double joint right there, as you can see. They go back pretty far, and they're pretty stiff. Well, I mean, they're pretty sturdy is what I mean, not stiff. I made sure they weren't stiff anymore. And there's not a split in the calf for this one, but there is rotation in the ankle that goes about that far. He's got a little bit of an ankle pivot, as you can see. And that really awesome toe articulation that all these figures come with that I am a huge fan of. Look at that. Boom. Really high up. Really, really digging that. Great posability in this really gnarly figure. I love it. And here's something I'm actually lambasting myself for not having done before, but here's a size comparison for you guys of just how big this figure is compared to other figures. I think I mentioned in the last video, a lot of people complained about the scale for these figures because they don't exactly go with everything that's on most collectors' shelves. Most collectors are used to like a 6-inch line, you know. As you can see, most of these figures are about 6 inches, and McFarlane Batman there kind of sticks out. He's the biggest boy in the group. Believe it or not, this isn't all the Batman figures that I have, so can't wait to show those off at some point if you guys want that. Otherwise, you know, maybe if I reach a certain milestone. From left to right, you have the 0-year Batman from the original Multiverse line before McFarlane bought the license for it. And then you have, I believe it was Mattel that did the 66 Batman figure line. So I have Adam West there. And then next to him is Christian Bale from the Movie Masters line. I actually gave him a custom cape, you can tell from the crew job I did. And on the right, starting with the very familiar one, you have Michael Keaton's Batman there from the NECA release. I believe this came with the Blu-ray. I bought this one loose, so I'm not too sure. And then we have the Multiverse Ben Affleck Batman from the Batman vs. Superman release. And at the end we have the Dark Knight Returns Batman. I'm thinking of actually doing a custom painting of this figure, giving him the black and gray look. Let me know if that's something you guys would be interested in. But there you go. There he is compared to all his brethren. He's going to go on my Batman shelf for sure. And that is it, guys. That is my look at Todd McFarlane's vision of Batman. Very dark, very edgy, very pointy. Less Dark Knight detective, more brutal vigilante of the night, for sure. Definitely one of the more interesting Batmans that I own. I can say that for sure. And I own a original, what was it, Crimson Reign Batman? Yeah, the vampire Batman. Not the multiverse one that's kind of cheap, but the older one that's got a massive amount of detail. Yeah. That guy is boxed up though, so I'm probably not going to do a review on him. I feel it sounds like I'm down talking this figure, but I honestly really love it and I'm very happy to have it. As you can see, he poses very well, and I cannot wait to display him next to my other Batman. This is the archetypal Shudder-Bug, letting you guys know that I'm going to be doing, hopefully, a cosplay video next, not an action figure review. I want you guys to have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful rest of your week. And as always, adios amigos. Alright, without further ado, oops.
Hey, also. Hey, you want to tell them my people you were barking? Huh? You want to tell them why you were barking? Of course. Just biting his butt. This is my dog, guys. I love him to death.